I'm here with Josh Feldman, writer, director, producer of the documentary Animal, which I am also the on-camera host.
Yes,
Thank you
you
very
are.
much. And which will be coming out this summer. So this summer, with a close look at, well, meat as the integral part of the human diet, but with a special look at the carnivore diet.
That's right.
Right. So Josh and I got to work together quite a bit, obviously putting this, making this film, and was incredible experience for me, very new experience for me. Josh, how many documentaries have you made?
Close to 200.
200 documentaries.
Yeah.
How many different continents does that include?
That's mostly Africa.
Mostly Africa.
Yeah. So, I come from South Africa and England, but my home for the last few decades has been predominantly South Africa. And the work that I've done has taken me in and around the African continent and the Middle East.
Wow.
And parts of Asia, but mostly Africa and the Middle East.
Gotcha. That's quite a exciting. Sounds like a very exciting career.
Yeah.
Among other things, it's not the only thing you've shot, but documentaries, 200 documentaries is pretty significant.
Yeah.
And so, there's been a lot of documentaries coming out over the last, I think, year or two around diet.
Yeah.
Some of them around carnivore or around something around the animal-based community.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you early on. You wanted to make this. We actually met here in Austin the first time at Hack Your Health last June, I think.
Yes, that's right.
And you told me, I want to make this different. I want to make this stand out. It had to have an art house quality, is what you told me.
That's correct.
And so, and I would say you achieved it looking at the other documentaries that are out there, not to disparage anything, but you put extra thought, effort, artistic quality really into this documentary that I haven't seen in the other documentaries that are out there. So that's why I wanted to bring on you and talk to you about that, because I want people to understand how this documentary, other than the subject matter, is so different, and what makes it special.
Sure.
And so, when you came in to take on this film, where did you begin with? Like, how did you start with that process of how I'm going to make this film stand out?
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here on your show because, I've been directing you for so many months, and now it's great to be here. Yeah. It's amazing. So I think, first of all, our executive producer, Vinny, who was on one of your shows at one stage, I think.
I was on his podcast.
You're on his podcast, that's right.
Yeah.
He had said to me, you've got to meet Zane. Okay, you've got to meet Zane. And when I was starting to put this all together, Vinny was the one that had said, I really think you should connect with Zane because he is obviously experienced this lifestyle and he knows everybody that's involved, not only just from an industry perspective, but who might add the right kind of voice to what I was starting to put together and what I wanted to achieve. So that's when we met at Hack Your Health, and I started speaking to you about my vision for it. To answer your question, the quality of everything that I make, whether it's documentary, whether it's a TV show like Survivor or Shark Tank, which again our executive producer Vinny was one of the sharks, is always entertaining. So I watch documentaries. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I've found that the place we're at the moment in this world with documentaries is quite formulaic. That they often seem to be quite the same in the way that they present the facts and the information. And you look at that and you go, oh, okay, cool, yeah, all right, that's kind of interesting. And maybe you take one or two facts to the dinner table, your Friday night dinner table, or Saturday night, whatever it is, and say, oh, did you see that? Yeah, okay. But nobody really remembers it. Nobody's going to remember the kind of, the everything that was spoken about for a long period of time. And so everything that I make, I try and create a feeling, because people will remember the feeling that they had for something more so than they will remember just a tiny little piece of information. And so if you can get people to, you can take people on a journey and get them to feel something, they'll be like, oh my goodness, this is what I've felt when I experienced this, when I watched it and listened to it, heard it. I really felt it in my core, or it made me feel this thing which I haven't felt when I watched a movie or a documentary or a piece of music in a very long time. And so that's why I tried to really make it entirely different to everything else that exists in this category. You know, so yes, in the documentary space, but again, there are so many documentaries that are coming out specifically about diet.
Yes.
Okay, everything that we're putting in our mouths, and you know, when we first started talking about making it, starting with Vinny and myself, and then Kevin, our other producer, and then yourself as an associate producer and our host, a lot of the conversations that we had were around, okay, well, what's out there? What are we seeing on YouTube? What are we seeing on Netflix? What's on Amazon? You know, what's on Apple? And we looked at the span of that, and mostly everything generally has the kind of vegan, vegetarian argument at its core.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that every single time that those documentaries speak about meat, that they denigrate it or decry it or completely destroy that argument. But the heart of those documentaries are positioned around vegan vegetarianism, and so there wasn't anything that I discovered that was like, oh yes, that's the conversation around meat. You know, and where we come from as a species, that has made me, as the filmmaker, stand up and go, I want to continue that conversation. There's been nothing out there. So for me, this is the documentary film that really, really, I hope, really kickstarts a global conversation. You know, so yes, there are a few meat documentaries out there. There are, but you know, you say to the average person in the street, what have you seen?
Right.
And they'll be like, I really cannot give you an answer. And so Animal should be the documentary feature film that people go, oh, the meat documentary. Yes, that's the one. I remember feeling this when I watched it. Whether they agree with it, whether they agree with us or not,
Right.
doesn't.
You want to start a conversation,
matter.
basically,
They felt
provoke a
something.
feeling. Yeah.
And it opens up a conversation. Yeah.
You did it. You achieved it. I just cut to the he did it. But we're going to talk about how a little bit without giving it away. But it was like, even watching the screening, and I filmed it, and I'm watching the screening when we saw a couple months ago, before the final edit.
Yeah.
And it was still, there were parts of it that were still very moving to me, that I remember filming, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was trying to control myself, because there were some vulnerable moments that people were sharing with us.
Yes.
That were very, very moving, a lot of feeling.
Yes.
And I could feel them. And then I remember getting the feedback from the people who saw it. Those were some of the points people were asking about. People mentioned, they're like, I don't even know what she meant by this, or I don't know what he said, but I felt X. You know, I felt this. Yeah. And I wanted to know what she was going through. Yeah. And it was mission accomplished. You know, we got them to think and feel. Yeah. And so, but you. Yeah,
I think I feel that too. I think we got that
with the story, and that's just the story element of it. Yeah. Because you really told a story. You brought people into several stories, but it was a bigger story of like, what is this about?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So first of all, it was very difficult to contain it into the 7 chapters that we decided to go with, wasn't it? I mean, there was so much that came out when we met all of these incredibly beautiful people in the journey of telling this story. Now, I mean, we really could make a series out of this.
You could.
We have so much footage. Maybe we should.
What do you think, guys? Let us know. Should we do a series? What do you think? Just comment.
Yeah.
Get a series.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe they should see the film first, and then
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then-
Yeah. Probably so.
let us know if we should
Yeah.
make a series.
Should we make a
afterwards,
series?
because we have all this footage?
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. So I think that in this carnivore community are so genuinely, authentically passionate about spreading the word, about spreading their message, right? About
For
getting
sure.
their message out there. And that's what I really wanted our cameras to feel. I wanted you to feel every place that we went to, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss a beat
Mm-hmm.
everywhere we went in the capturing of that emotion. Because this community, their agenda is truly healing, right?
It is.
It is absolutely about healing humanity. And the first thing that I've found when I started speaking about making this film, just generally, both in South Africa and in England and in different parts of the States, when I started mentioning it to people, it was they were like, their face sort of,
Right.
meat? Like you're making a film about meat? You know, and unless you're kind of in where we are now in Austin, in the heart of Texas, there are many places in the world where people kind of like, no, I don't know if I want to watch a documentary about just meat. You know? And so I think that what I then tried to do is make it a genuine story about healing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're ultimately trying to get to, right?
Right.
Okay, is as a species, as human beings, we have, which you'll hear many times in the film, we have forgotten where we come from.
Right.
And we've forgotten how to listen to our bodies, right? To what our bodies need.
Absolutely.
So, without giving too much away, because we don't want to give everything away.
Right.
I think that to this point, over the past 100+ years, the human race, we as a species, have just, we've fallen into the marketing machine. It's the big corporate,
Yes.
big ag, big corporate, big pharma machine, and we see it on TV, and we believe it.
Right.
And we're now in a phase of existence, I think, where we're starting to question absolutely everything. Where those conversations are popping up everywhere.
Right.
And so
Because of the level of disease that has been produced
right
by it, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's
Right.
insane.
Yeah. I mean, if I look at my own family history, and a lot of this comes from, where my mom comes from, and when she was 19 and she was pregnant with my brother, okay, who passed away a couple of years ago, she had terrible morning sickness. Okay, like projectile vomiting and just incredibly terrible morning sickness. And so she went to her doctor. This was in England. Went to her doctor and said, "What do I do about this?" And he gave her a handful of pills, and she, "Thank you very much," and no question, you just take it. You go to the doctor and you say thanks. Okay, and that's kind of where the journey of healing and wanting to make films in that space really started for me. And
Gotcha.
I think that we're now, with everything that you talk about, with other influences, I really think that conversation is starting to expand phenomenally.
Yeah.
And now is the time to make films like the one that we have made, really take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it beautifully. I mean, the way you wrote it, with the storyline, with all the people we had there, and then to be able to turn all of that footage again into, I don't know how you get through all of that and all those stories and created this story. I mean, that must have been so difficult to choose what you included We did, but because we're so much.
So, I was lucky enough that my number one narrative editor was available for us. His name is Matthew Stones for short. He looks like one of the guys from ZZ Top. He's got a beard down to his waist. And he had the incredible task of taking my brief, looking for all the moments that I wanted in the story, and just plowing through all the footage, hours and hours of footage to try and find all the right bits and pieces, the bites that I wanted to really make it, to really meet the vision that I had for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in its look and feel, so in its texturing, I wanted it to just in its aesthetic. So when you look at it, it looks different to everything else that's out there.
It does.
And so again, as a filmmaker, my inspirations are very different, I think, to kind of your standard box-like documentary that just gives you the facts, and maybe you have some really pretty shots, and like Planet Earth, for example, or things that you see on National Geographic, which are they're maybe beautifully shot, but you know what you're in for when you're going to watch a Planet Earth documentary.
Yes.
It has a look, and when you watch National Geographic, they have a look. Okay, ours is very different, and so inspired by very different things, inspired by the anime world.
Right.
Okay, in terms of texture, inspired by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, Sin City, and movies like Sin City and 300.
Right.
And so the texturing of it, when people see it, will feel very different to anything else that's out there.
For sure.
Yeah, in the documentary space.
For sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I haven't seen like that in a documentary space.
Yeah.
But it evokes more feeling.
Yeah.
I think it stimulates the eye, so it draws the attention. You're not just staring at the same kind of thing over and over again. The change of the textures continues to stimulate the mind, so that you're staying interested.
Yes. Yeah. So in short, it's got a black, red, and white kind of color palette, and then when we see whatever is the animal, it is highly saturated color, so that you understand that we are talking about a specific animal. Okay, and there's an underlying subtext to it, which sort of ties it all together, which I spoke to you about as well, and that's really, we're all animals. We're all animals, right? We are. We're made of the same stuff. We're made of flesh. Okay, we're all made of the same proteins, really.
We are.
We all come from the soil. We come from the earth. And if you...
We're carbon.
We're all carbon, made of the same things.
Yeah.
And so when you begin to really, again, realize that, why would you not be putting those things back inside your body to build your body? Surely you would think that is the most natural, normal thing to do, because we're made of the same things. Right.
Yeah. Our structure.
It's made of the same structures.
We got to repair our structure. We got to replace structure. We need that structure to be consumed to replace and and replenish our structure.
Yeah. And so you and I have had many conversations around carbohydrates.
Yes.
And vegetables.
Yeah.
And so you can get all those things, as we know, from other places. Okay, but certainly not in the supercharged way that you get it from meat. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the story throughout is I think it there was a lot that people, I think, who did screen it earlier, they had questions about the things that I think surprised them in what was revealed and shared, that they didn't realize if you're thinking about plant-based versus animal-based diet. They just, not to give things away, but there was I think a lot revealed that people had not heard before.
Yes.
Which is great, obviously. And then with the visualization, like you just mentioned, and then you've brought in an original score.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. I think we have. I think that the flow of the story certainly takes everybody on an incredible journey. Okay, at no point in our story is it ever boring. At least I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You know?
I had fun.
we had a lot of fun making it.
We did.
But then you can have a lot of fun making it, but it doesn't translate
Exactly.
into the edit.
Right.
But we have. So the way that I structured it,
It moves.
It has, as we said, it has seven key chapters, and a very particular flow within those chapters to keep everybody excited and engaged and interested. And I hope that everybody feels that. Yeah. And then we were lucky enough to have an incredible duo create the score for us. They're known as Goldfish, and so they originally come from Cape Town, from South Africa, and they've now moved over to the States. And they're fairly recently, and now they're touring all over the States.
Wow!
And this is their very first film score. Okay, and I've always wanted to work with them. Always, I've admired their music for a very long time, and seen their rise, their trajectory. And I met them a couple times, and then we had a conversation with them in San Diego. Okay, and Vinny, executive producer Vinny, and I said to them, we would love to have you guys, do the score for us. And it's just when musicians are touring, it's very difficult during their sort of peak touring times to get them into the studio to do something like this, right? Which requires so much energy and thought and creativity. And so we managed to find a gap in their incredibly busy schedule, and they did the score for us, which again, it's going to sound different to everything that people are expecting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most documentaries don't have people creating original scores for them. Yeah. They're looking at they're purchasing music.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's normal. That's standard, I guess.
Yeah. It is.
But I think it adds to the originality of this film that again evokes more of that feeling that you're after.
I think so. And again, the journey that it takes you on.
The journey.
You feel the journey in the music. They've done the most incredible job. So I hope people love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So again, I was inspired by my son actually. Yeah. He loves Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
I love Stranger Things, and I have a thing for the '80s.
Yeah.
As well. I love the '80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gen X, you kind of locked in on the '80s,
and synth-based sounds.
Oh, gotcha.
And so wherever I have the opportunity in the material that I make, I'm always going to want to work with synth-based sounds. And so Goldfish took the brief. They took my brief, and they just you want to work with people, creative people that can just 10x it, 100x it.
Right.
Take it and enhance it 100-fold. And they did that. So our editor Matthew did that, okay, and the Goldfish on the score, they did that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I was just really, really lucky to have all the people that I wanted, putting all the creative elements into the mix, and bringing their absolute A game to this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So how are people going to be able to view this film? I mean, I don't want to. Yeah. Since you're the director, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, sure.
So what's the release kind of plan for that?
Yeah. So we're going to be in theaters in summer. So quite soon, into the beginning of summer, domestically. So here in the States. So people will be able to see it in theaters, and then we'll hit the streaming universe quite soon after that as well. I can't tell you where yet.
Sure.
Okay. There are still in discussions at the moment around which partners we're going to go with. But it would be great if everybody could feel the full scope of it in theaters, because the way that I mixed the sound, so the actual sound mix is specifically designed for theaters. And you're going to get the full experience if you watch it in a theater, which is what films should be. Really, if you want an entertaining experience, right? You want to watch a documentary just about the facts, you're going to watch it on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're just going to go to YouTube. Oh, I heard about that from Zane. I'm going to find it on YouTube and I'm going to watch it. And I'm going, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to find out. Great piece of information. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want the filmic experience combined with the receipt of knowledge and wisdom, you want to see that on a huge screen in 7.1 surround sound. And that's what people are going to get in theaters. So get the popcorn and the soda, right?
Yeah, look for it in theaters this summer.
A tomahawk steak.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, get your steak. Yeah, forget the popcorn. Get your steak bites.
Well,
I know.
I'll let people have some popcorn.
I know. It's a joke, but it'd be nice if they serve some steak bites.
Both. Yeah. Mix it in with the popcorn.
Yeah, there we go. Steak bites and popcorn.
There we go.
So that's. I mean, we're all excited about it coming out. You said this summer.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. Trailer, teasers.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
They're coming.
They're coming.
They're coming.
They're gonna drop in a very specific kind of way, in a very specific rhythm, so that we can get people really, really, really pumped about it. And so keep watching Zane.
Mm-hmm.
Keep watching Zane.
I will definitely be heavy rotation on those.
There we go.
Yeah.
As soon as they drop, they'll be on your platforms.
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time, talk to us about it.
Sure.
It's kind of been we started making almost, well, and you started a year ago.
Yeah.
I started almost 9 months, and it's just been like, it's a process.
Yeah.
And people who have participated in it, like, when's this going to come out? It's like, we're just filming it, we have no idea. And so it's this long process of creation.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's lots of anticipation. And even with the crew, right?
Yeah.
There's still that anticipation, but there's a lot of work to go into it.
Yeah.
And so to see it coming out, we're within a few months of this.
Yeah.
And so it's very exciting. It's bubbling up. The people who I know who were in it, who are saying, like, coming soon.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming and sharing this with me, because I wanted to give people, we can't, since we don't have the trailer yet, we don't have the teaser, but I wanted to give people a little bit about, again, why it's different, what's going to set it apart, why they should be excited about it, and why they're going to want to tell other people about it. They want to share this because it is engaging and evokes feeling, and we'll answer some questions. It's going to be an experience.
Oh yeah, it sure is going to be a theatrical experience, but even over and above that. I hope that it changes lives, because there are just so many millions of people out there who just don't understand why they're sick. They don't.
That's true.
They're not getting it from their doctors.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting the right information from their doctors, and their doctors are taught in a very particular way, as we know from the institutions that they go to, and so they're just ticking all the boxes, and still people go to their doctor and they just cannot understand why they're not getting better. And I hope that this, for those people, lifts the veil on what we think could be a solution to whatever problems people are facing, whether it's diabetes, whether it's stopping cancer in its tracks. Which I understand, and you understand, is a huge statement.
It is.
But in this journey, we have met so many people who are pre-diabetic, who are diabetic, who have skin conditions that they've never been able to cure.
Yeah. Autoimmune issues, gut issues.
Yeah.
That they were able to clear up with this incredible elimination diet of.
Yeah. Heart disease.
Yeah.
And then, as we've spoken about many times, how do you treat cancer? How to deal with cancer? So, again, you're diagnosed with cancer. What happens? You go to the doctor. You start chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Where in that process does the conversation around what you're consuming start? Where does it happen in that process once somebody's been diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah.
It should be right at the very beginning, right?
It
should be right there. And so these are the kind of things that we hope our film will spark a conversation in and around
Right.
for people. So yeah, at its heart, at its real heart, Zane, as you and I, debated and spoke about many times, at its absolute core and at its heart is there is no other agenda other than healing.
Well
And
said.
that's it.
Yeah.
And we hope that it contributes to
Absolutely.
to humanity in that sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Appreciate
All right,
you.
man.
Come share it.
Yeah,
Watch
sure.
for it. Animal,
Watch for it.
like the shirt says, like the hat
There we go.
says, animal, watch the space.
Watch the space. Let's go get some steak.
Yes.
Tomahawks.
Sounds great.
Let's go.